Hello, guys. Hi. Nina, thank you. So, as Ilya said, we are very glad to see all of you here. So, and if this is your first time, just welcome. And we continue to talk about book of Galatians, and we will do it English way tonight. Yeah, okay, just a couple of people, but thank you. So, a lot of things what we will talk about will be very complicated for me, even on Russian, but because we have this decision, so please be patient for me. I'll try to do it my best. So, we talk about Christianity, we talk about life in Jesus Christ, we talk about our lives and how it's supposed to be, what we need to do, what we should to do, what it's good to do, and how it works. Because this is not just our lives, it's not what people created, it's not Jesus, people's thoughts about life or something. It's about God. It's His idea. This is His plan for people. So, and we cannot just talk about it's your decision. Well, you can do this or you can do this. No, it's God's plans for us, and we should to please God. And we will talk about how we can do it, by what we can do it. But we, as a Christians, we should to please God with our lives. So, and we continue to talk about book of Galatians, as I said, and tonight we talk about chapter 2. Honestly, I never before worked with this book. I worked many times with James, a couple of times with Roman. Even with Hebrew I work. It's a very complicated book for me, but I did it. I worked with Ephesians a couple of times, but I never worked before with book of Galatians, and but it's very interesting, very deep book, and just my advice for you, read it deeply. And for me, the biggest, the hardest place in this book was chapter 2. This conflict between Peter and Paul. I never understood before what Paul means when he said these words in this chapter. When he had I don't know if this was conflict, but it was very confusing situation. Apostle Peter, one of the biggest men in Christianity, and other biggest, not less big, Paul. And they have this conversation. Okay, let's read about. I will do it Russian. But if you have English Bible, please open Galatians chapter 2, verse 14. Но когда я увидел, что они не прямо поступают по истине евангельской, то сказал Петру при всех: если ты, будучи иудеем, живешь по-язычески, а не по-иудейски, то для чего язычников принуждаешь жить по-иудейски? If you are Jew and live like Gentiles, why do you force Gentiles live like Jewish people? So this, especially this verse, was very complicated for me how to understand it. What Paul means when he's talk about the things, how he is Jewish, and he lives like Gentiles, and at the same time he forced Gentiles live like Jewish. So, and I wanna bold one word: live. You, Peter, live like Gentiles. And we talk about Peter, who was Jewish. He lived by law. He knows very good about all these things in the law and Old Testament. But in the same way, Paul says you live like Gentiles. So if we will read this book, before I will start preaching, I want to talk about these complicated things because it's like very important for our topic. So in the beginning of this chapter, we'll see that Paul and his co-workers, they came to Jerusalem and they had this conversation with apostles about the way to preach gospel, the way how Gentiles can be saved. And they explained their way of grace, or their way of preaching gospel. And what we found that all others, Jewish apostles, they accepted and agreed with Paul, and that okay, this is okay. You can preach this way. It sometimes reminds me like our churches when you want to do something good and you preach the gospel, but it's required to you to come to some people and please may preach gospel this way. So, but by the way, it happened. And after this situation, when all apostles, they agreed with the Apostle Paul, and they came back to his town in Antioch, I think, and then came there Peter, and he has no problem to have food with Gentiles, to have fellowship with Gentiles. But when there come other Jewish people, they start, I don't know how this word, shy or confused, itself because of these people. So and Paul said these words. What does he mean? Yeah? What does he mean? Yeah, thank you. Okay, if Anna's eyes is open like this, okay, I'm okay. So, the problem of Jewish people was that they thought that they can be saved by the law, by the life in the law. Yeah? This was the keystone in their salvation. If you want to be saved, you should to know the law, and you should to live by this law. But what Paul opened, and what other Jewish people, like Christians, like Peter and like John and Jacob, understood through their life with Jesus Christ, that by the law nobody can be saved. You want to be saved only through the grace of Jesus Christ. And then after this verse, Paul explained that we Jewish people understood this awesome thing, that we cannot be saved by our own life, our own righteousness. Because for Gentiles it was much easier. They didn't know God before. They didn't have this law about all these complicated things and more than 300 commandments and blah, blah, blah. So it was very easy because they never met God before. And just Paul came and said, you're sinners, and gave them gospel, and they received Jesus Christ by the grace because they believed in Jesus Christ. And this is the only one way how you can receive Jesus Christ. And as I said, sorry, I just try to explain this situation. The Jewish people understood this, and this was much harder for them to accept this, because whole their life was in the law. Whole their life, every day, every hour, required to be in this law. So, and it was very hard to accept, and it was very hard to them to separate yourself from the law and accept that I can be saved without law, but by the grace of Jesus Christ. And Peter, because we talk about Peter and other Jewish Christians, they accepted this idea, this God's idea, that you can be saved only like Gentiles. Because in other letters, Paul explained for us that the Jewish people and Gentiles on the same level. They're sinners, we're sinners. They need Jesus Christ, we need Jesus Christ. They can be saved by the faith, we can be saved only by the faith. We can be saved only by the grace, and the same about them. So, and when Paul said about you live like Gentiles, he means you saved like them. You saved not because of law, not because of other commandments. commandments, not about of, help me, circumcision. Circumcision. Yeah, this was a new word for me. Like, it's much easier. So, not because of Sabbath, but only because of grace of Jesus Christ. And Peter, when we talk about you, you understand that you saved because of Jesus, not because of law, not because of all these commandments, but just because of grace of Jesus Christ. And here, you're at the same level with Gentiles. So, and why he talked not about salvation, but about life? He said, you live like Gentiles. He didn't say you saved like Gentiles, but he said you live like Gentiles. This is like will be one of the biggest keystone in my sermon. So where's my water? Okay, where we are. Yeah. There's like a very interesting thing. The Gentiles didn't need to live like Jewish to be saved. Yes? But Jewish should to do same thing like Gentiles to be saved. It's very like ironic situation, yeah? The Jewish people who is like close to God, know God, like other things, Gentiles don't need to live like Jewish to accept Jesus. But Jewish should to do the same thing like Gentiles to receive Jesus. So the biggest problem for Jewish people was that they not lived just by the law, they lived for the law. Every day, every time, it wasn't about God. It wasn't about relationship. It was just about the law. And they didn't live for God. They didn't live for a relationship with God. They lived just for the law. This was the biggest problem of Jewish people, of Pharisees, like for example, and that's why when Jesus talked with them, he said, it's Mark chapter 2, verse 27. But Jesus said, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. But this was the problem of all Jewish people. They lived for the law. They lived for the Sabbath. And this was the big problem of them, as I said. So let's go, let's continue. Why Paul said, I want to come back, why Paul said you live, he didn't say you saved, but he said you live like Gentiles. The answer we can find like in the end of this chapter when he said in verse 19 and 20, I will read Russian. «Законом я умер для закона, чтобы жить для Бога. Я сораспялся Христу, и уже не я живу, но живет во мне Христос. А что ныне живу во плоти, в теле, то живу верой в Сына Божьего, возлюбившего меня и предавшего себя за меня». The point, what Paul want to say for us in this like verse is next. The real life, the real Christian life, it's not by the law, it's not by the like rules or other things, it's only by faith in God. So everything what is outside of your faith in Jesus Christ, this is not real life. Okay? So you got this idea? Paul said, I live only by the faith in Jesus Christ. So everything outside of this faith is not the real life. That's why he said to Peter, you live like Gentiles. What he means that you saved and you live by faith. Not because of law, not because of Sabbath or other circumcision or other things. You live your life only because of Jesus Christ. That's why he said you live like Gentiles. Why? Because Gentiles had no hope for because they haven't scripture, they haven't the law, they haven't temple, they haven't the Ark of Covenant. All these things what Jewish people had. Only thing what they have had and have now is faith. This is the only way how they can build their relationship with God. I love this. I hate this. But if Edic doesn't like fix me, I am okay for now. I think, I hope, or he's very nice and like. Should, yeah, without to. Should, could, would, without to. Yes. Okay. So, that's why Paul said you live like Gentiles. So, you live only by the faith in Jesus Christ. What does it mean to live by faith in Jesus Christ? I want to make some points what it means in this gospel, in this verse, because, guys, this is very important to understand what is the real life and what is the fake. Because the real life, the first point I want to mark is the real life has and can give you only Jesus Christ. The real life has only Jesus Christ. And the only Jesus Christ can give you this, gives you this life. So, why I think this way? Because when you open Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 10, he said, I came to give you life and more than enough. In chapter 6, same Gospel, he said that I am bread of life. And only who will accept this bread will be alive. In the same Gospel, chapter 14, he said, I am the way, truth, and the life. So many times in Gospels, Jesus said, and many times then apostles said that only Jesus Christ has real life. And only He can give you this life. So outside of Jesus Christ, you cannot say that you live. You cannot say that you have, you live, and you cannot say that you have this life outside of Jesus Christ. You can name it wherever you want. You can make it like, life is this or this or this. Many different ways. So you can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. But the real life has only Jesus Christ. And only Jesus Christ can give us this real life. So, second thing what I want to mark tonight, the only way to receive this life is through the grace of God, through the Jesus Christ. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8, you saved not because of your deeds, but because of grace. And this is the God's present for you. The only way to receive this real life, the only way to receive Jesus' life to you is by the grace. Through the faith in this grace. Through the faith in Jesus Christ. So, people try to create different ways, like to live, like because I have a lot of money, because I have a good job, maybe because I have very good and very high degree, because I have a lot of friends, or I travel a lot, or like you office, this right, office rat, you say every day you're in your office with these papers, but I have real life, I travel a lot. This is the life? No. Because the real life outside of Jesus Christ is nothing. It's just, ее там просто нету. You cannot find the real life outside of Jesus Christ. Doesn't exist. Thank you. Не существует, yeah? Oh, yeah. I knew this word. Okay. So, and the only one way to receive this life, it's not through the law. Because what was the weakest spot in the law? You know what? We are the weakest spot in the law. Because law is the character of God, we already talked about. The law is like image of God. It's what He likes and what He doesn't. God has no like weak spots. And we cannot be saved by the law, not because of law, because it's bad or like not enough rules there, because of us. Because we are not eligible. Yeah, we are not eligible to do it. Like, yeah, it's okay. Thank you. So we are weakest spot. That's why we need Holy Spirit. That's why we need God's grace to receive His salvation. We cannot reach this life by ourselves, by our good deeds or abilities or skills, whatever you like call it. You can receive it only because of grace of Jesus Christ. So that's why we need Jesus. That's why we say that outside of Jesus Christ we have the real life. That's why we say that without Jesus Christ we cannot receive this real life. And what does it mean to live Jesus' life? What does it mean to receive His life? What does it mean to live by faith? Because, I want to read one more time verse 20 of chapter 2 of Galatians. «Я не живу, но живет во мне Христос, а что сейчас живу в теле, то, разрешите скажу по-своему, то живу исключительно, потому что верю в Иисуса». The only one reason I'm alive, not spiritually, not only spiritually, he talks here about my life in flesh. He said, I'm alive only because of a reason of faith in Jesus Christ. And he didn't talk here about a spiritual life, about your ministry, about your church or something. He talks about your life in flesh, about your job, about your study, about your family, about your friends, about your relationship, about your weak things, about your depression, about other things in your life, about sin in your life. He says that the only one reason I'm alive, only one reason why I have job, only one reason why I have college or why I have family or friends or something else, the only one reason why I have this is faith in Jesus Christ. But it's not about all of people, it's not about all of us. Because you can do same things. You and your friend can be in the same college. You can have the same job. You can travel in the same place on the same flight. But for you, this is the real life. For him, is not. The difference, you have Jesus Christ. He is not. And when you just see people around you, you can hypnotize his life or not. But God said, the real life is only in me. The only I can give you the real life. And He talks not about just your spiritual things. He talks about your everyday life. Day by day. Day by day. So, what does it mean to live by faith? It means to accept a couple of things in your life. And we already talked about, I don't remember when, but I want to just remind you about this. To live by faith, it means accept that without Jesus, you're nothing. Without Jesus, you're nothing. Yeah, you're human, and you have huge goals. Like maybe you have huge salary, maybe you have like huge car, I don't know, other huge things. Without Jesus, you have nothing. Because in God's eyes, this is nothing. This is not real life. Как будет существование? Existence, just. Well, yeah. Existence, it doesn't mean to be life. So, you should accept that without Jesus Christ, you have no life. Second, if you want to be the real, alive person, if you want to live the real life, you should accept Jesus' goal for your life. Because he was created because of God's reason. He was created because of God. And he created you because of his goal. He has a goal for you. He has a purpose for you. And he said, without this, outside of this purpose, guys, you can be the Christian. You can be saved person, but you still can be without life. Because till you didn't accept Jesus' purpose for your life, you're not a live person. You can proclaim God's name, you can worship God, you can be in church, you can be member of church, baptized person, wherever you want, but till you didn't receive or didn't accept God's purpose for you, you're not alive. Because your life, it means to live for God, for his purpose. He created you for it. Not for your study, not for your job. Well, maybe, I don't know, it's between you and God. But you should be sure that these things, what you are doing right now, are in God's purpose for you. All these things, what you are doing right now, are in God's plan for you. And nothing outside. The second thing, I think you should accept his style. 2 weeks ago, yeah, I changed my hairstyle. The next step will be like this, like hard white line right here. This is not my idea, but and I was worrying what pastors will say about, but they are okay. Well, we'll see what they will say about this. This is not because of Dima Bilan. Because somebody said me, oh, you look like Dima Bilan. What? I don't like him. I didn't say that I hate him. I just don't like him. So, to live God's life means to accept or to agree with his style. What I mean when I talk about style, it's about dress or about your hairstyle or about like nails or something else. No, it's about like your style to talk with people. It's style to решать проблемы. Resolve the problems. The style to build your future. This is the style to build your family. This is the style to build your workspace wherever you work. That kind of style we talk about. I don't know, but I think God doesn't care about your hairstyle. Only if it's like your idol. Oh, it's my hairstyle. But he really cares the way you build a relationship with people. Because you cannot hate people. You cannot say bad words about people and for people, two, four. It's the style to build a relationship with your parents, with your kids. It's about me. It's the style to solve the problems. This kind of style. And if you talk about Jesus Christ, if you talk about if you want to say I'm a live person and I have the real life, it means that you should to have the Jesus Christ style, His way to live. Okay? And third thing I want to talk with you, it's already 8, I already done, I think, with my English. To be a live person, it means to admit your need in His help, right? Okay, thank you. To be alive means to admit your need in His help. Because this is God's life. Because this is God's life. It's not human life. It's not human goals. It's not human's abilities. It's not human style. It's not human's way to do this. But this is God's. So do you remember we talk about bees? Yeah, bees, or like tarakane, whatever it's called. Yeah, spider. Oh, I just 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, realized that caterpillar is гусеница. What? One of the biggest company in the world, caterpillar is гусеница. So Shell, it's ракушка. Oil company, ракушка. So, by the way, for example, you have this caterpillar or bug and beads or whatever, and spider, these small ugly things, some people scare it, ants, ants, муравьи, ants, это другое. So, and just tell him, hey, I want you to ask something, build for me house. He cannot do it, it cannot do it, but why? Because they have no abilities, skills, they have no hands or tools to do it. But this is what God exactly tells us. Build my house on the earth. Yes or no? He said, I wait this from you. You should build house for me, or my house on the earth. My kingdom. Kingdom of heaven right here. Where you live, in your neighborhood, in your college, in your workspace, you should to build my kingdom. And without God, because you have no God's abilities, God's skills, you have no God's tools, you should to accept, you should to admit your need in His help. Just say, God, I cannot do it without you. This Christian life is so high. Your style is so high. It's so hard for me. Without your grace, without you, I cannot do it. So, if I want to please God, I should accept these things by my faith. Because in Hebrew chapter 11 verse 6, we can read that you cannot please God without faith. And when we talk about faith, it's not about, okay, I believe in God. This is not noun. This is verb. Faith is how you live. That's why Paul said, hey, Peter, you live like Gentiles. So you live not by the law. You live by the faith in Jesus Christ. And you, Peter, understand that without this faith, outside of this faith, you have no life, the real life. So if I want to please God, if I want to be like God, if I want to have the real life, I should to accept this by the faith in Jesus Christ. So I saved by faith. I live by faith. We need faith not just to be saved, because some people think this way. We need faith to be saved. But, Katya, what? I see your reaction, guys. But you need faith to live. Because Paul said, the problem of Jews, that, he said that Jesus is branch and they fall out because of lack of faith. But you on this branch only because of your faith. So, and one more verse I want to read, and I will end. It's Titus, chapter 2. Титу, 2 глава. Как приятно на русском говорить. От топота копыт по полю бежит. По-английски я так не скажу. С 11 стиха. 2 глава с 11 стиха. «Ибо явилась благодать Божия, спасительная для всех людей». Смотрите, что эта благодать делает. Это не только момент спасения. О, я благодатью получил спасение. Смотрите, что она делает. Научающая нас, чтобы мы отвергнули что-то, праведно и благочестиво жили в нынешнем веке, ожидая блаженного упования и явления и славы великого Бога и Спасителя нашего Иисуса Христа, который дал себя за нас, чтобы избавить нас от всякого беззакония и очистить себе народ, особенный, ревностный к добрым делам. Он здесь говорит о делах, ребята. Paul talks about deeds. He didn't talk only about faith, your like way of mind to thinking. He talks about your real life. You should have passion for good deeds. И ты это можешь только благодаря благодати, только через благодать. И если я плохо выражался по-русски, то есть по-английски, я хочу повторить это все по-русски, только очень коротко. Павел говорит Петру о том, что мы живем верой, и исключительно только верой. И он говорит, мы похожи на язычников именно в том, что мы согласились, что как и язычники, мы можем спасаться только верой. Закон нас не спасает. Суббота нас не спасает, обрезание не спасает. Он говорит, Петр, твоя проблема в том, что ты спасся как язычник и живешь как язычник, но хочешь, чтобы язычники были как ты, еврей. Соблюдали обрезание, соблюдали другие вещи. Он говорит, это неправильно, потому что настоящая жизнь – это жизнь внутри веры. Он говорит, outside, уже по-русски забыл, снаружи веры или вне веры нету никакой жизни настоящей. Настоящая жизнь – это только внутри веры. Вера в Иисуса Христа – это значит принять Его цели. Это значит принять Его стиль жизни. Это значит согласиться с тем, что ты без Бога ничего не можешь делать. И ты нуждаешься в Боге, чтобы жить настоящую жизнь. Ребята, неважно, кем вы называетесь, кем вы себя считаете. Запомните, без Иисуса Христа у нас нет настоящей жизни. Без Иисуса Христа это не жизнь. Все, что ты делаешь в своей жизни, и оно не прославляет Бога, это не жизнь. Потому что without faith you cannot please the God. Без веры ты не можешь угодить Богу. Все, что в твоей жизни не вера, это не жизнь. Посмотри, сколько в твоей жизни настоящей и сколько просто существования. Однажды я видел одну надпись на стене. Боишься умереть? Можно подумать, ты живой. Иногда это похоже на некоторых христиан. Можно подумать, что ты живой. Все, что вне веры, это не жизнь. Павел говорит, единственная причина, почему я сегодня живой, физически живой, это Иисус Христос. И только отталкиваясь от Иисуса Христа, я строю свою жизнь, свои цели, методы достижения этих целей. Говорит, вне этого жизни нету. Поэтому я хочу жить только с Богом, я хочу жить только в Боге. Аминь. Давайте помолимся.